Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to my training session. In today's session you're going to be learning one of the best kept secrets in trading: drawing trend lines using fractals. I love trading very much in a rules-based manner. That is, I'm a very mechanical trader in my approach, and the students that have watched my videos in the past, and as you know, I've got literally now well over 100 videos on YouTube now. I'm a very mechanical trader in the way I approach the market. I'm probably about 95% mechanical. Where's the discretion? Well, you've got red flag news announcements, and really the eye is the best indicator of are we in a trend, etc. So I'm going to be showing you how I draw trend lines in a very mechanical approach. I'm going to do this over a number of training videos because there's a lot to cover here. As always, I need to mention the risk. There's always a risk in trading. Don't trade using the rent money, and always use a simulator until you master your trading technique. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also, for $197, obtain my top 12 day trading strategies. Now over 20 hours of instructions of how to day trade using the world's best strategies. Now, after watching today's video, if you've got any questions, you can drop me an email on the address at trader@IamADayTrader, or please feel free to visit my website iamadaytrader.com, and also to request my free ebook, The Truth About Day Trading. You can also subscribe to that on my website at the bottom of the page. Traders and new potential traders, one of the greatest challenges that we have as traders is what we call information overload. I just want to mention this because one of the greatest challenges I have in training traders is that over 70% of the traders I deal with are already experienced, and many of them have found it very tough. We need to peel back the layers of the onion, if you like. We need to go back to the start, and you'll hear me preach continually: become a master with one setup or one strategy. And the reason I mention this is a lot of my students will be watching this. Don't stop what you're already doing. If it's working, master T2, T25, T10, and maybe T89 before you move on. But using trend lines is something that you can all be incorporating to, if you like, verify a trade. However, as we go to live charts in a moment, we're going to be looking at some live setups. Just remember that with a lot of the strategies that I teach, you would have already been in the market, because sometimes when the trend line connects, that is when we get a candle that closes over the trend line, we may have already been in on one of our other signals. I just wanted to mention that. Now, for the newer traders, and even for the traders that have found things tough up to now, I love this statement, this quote by Norman Vincent Peale: people become quite remarkable when they start thinking that they can do things. When they believe in themselves, they have the first secret of success. Anyone can learn how to draw trend lines. Trend line trading is a standalone strategy, and you can literally make a fortune from trading trend lines. Now, one thing with trend lines is that the lower the time frame you're trading, the quicker you need to be in drawing trend lines. And so the 89 tick ES, or maybe the 144 ES during market hours, the market is moving that quickly. It's hard to just even get a normal trade on, let alone draw a trend line, wait for a close over the trend line, etc. So just remember that for those of you who are thinking, gee whiz, the market moves that quickly, you might have to increase your time frame. One of the advantages when you're drawing trend lines, if you're using a time-based chart, you know of course when the candle's going to close, so it makes it a lot easier. But if you're trading using a tick chart or a range chart, that can present some additional challenges. You might have to increase the time frame. So I want to talk to you about making your trend lines mechanical in drawing them, that is, to make them very rules-based, and we can do that using fractals. Now Bill Williams is very famous for fractals. Fractals are really around his whole course, around his program. He's written books, New Trading Dimensions, Trading Chaos, very much based upon the power of fractals. However, the way I draw my trend lines and take my entries is a little different to the way Bill does it, but it's still well worth reading about his concept. Now, a standard fractal is where you have, and hopefully you can see this on your screen, two candles or bars to the left and to the right, and one in the middle. So you've got a formation of 5, and so the top one, you can now get software, and you'll see my software where you've got a dot appears above that, and you can have, we can see down here, you can have a dot appears down here, up here, and you've got different types of fractals, but the overall philosophy is that you've got 2 lower candles on either side or 2 higher on either side to form a fractal. Now you're going to see in a moment how that can make our trading very mechanical. Now when it comes to drawing trend lines, what we want to be doing is, of course, touching these fractals. Now you can see here you've got, actually in this little diagram, I've got 3 candles to the left, to the right, same here, and you can see here I've joined a trend line from this lower point to this higher point. There's a trend line, and likewise going short, we can see it going down here. So drawing trend lines is fairly easy, and it's going to perhaps be a little easier when you see it on the chart in a moment. But where trend lines are absolutely invaluable, you may have heard of the famous wolf wave. Bill Wolf has been trading the wolf wave for many years. There's a lot of material on the internet about the wolf wave. It can take a while to get your head around it. Now once again, students, I just want to mention that this is another whole concept. For those students of my course, you just want to be very careful that you don't confuse yourself here, okay? I just want to mention that. If you're already a trendline trader, fantastic, but just be careful of incorporating too many concepts. Remember, become a master, own one setup before you move on. But what I wanted to show you here, these are fractal points here. 1, 3, 5, 4, and 2 are all fractal points, and so therefore in drawing wolf waves, when you read his material, he doesn't refer them to fractal points, but that's exactly what they are. Now of course we use trend lines for drawing up triangles and wedges, for ascending, descending, and so trend lines have an incredible they can really form a valuable part of your trading. So let's now go and have a look at the charts themselves. Now what we're going to have a look at here, traders, is this is now today's date, by the way. In Australia here it's the Friday the 18th, so it's very early Friday morning over in the USA, and what we're looking at here is the NQ. Now this is applicable, remember, on any market. So I'm going to be explaining how I've drawn these trend lines, but it doesn't matter whether you're trading Forex, whether you're trading stocks. It really doesn't matter whether you're using time-based charts, range, Renko. It's all applicable. So let's have a look at the first trend line that was drawn today. Can you see these little, and actually let me just get this, I just want to get a large pointer for you. Okay, so traders, you can see these black dots. What these signify is a fractal point. Now you can see here I've got a low here and the black dot appears, and what I'm ideally looking for, and let me remove this one for you, is I'm looking to draw my trend line from fractal point to fractal point and beyond. So you can see from there to there it continues right up. Now for me to get then a break, I'm looking for a candle to close in the direction, if you like, of the new trend, or under this break here. So technically speaking, on this NQ chart, this is a 55 tick chart. So if you're based in LA or even New York, or very early in the morning in Europe, this is a great market to trade when you get home. Now just remember though, when you're trading futures contracts after hours, your broker may require a full margin, and I think my broker at the moment, a full margin on an NQ contract's about $3,500. During the day, of course, I think it's $500 or $600. So the margin requirements do go up. However, let's have a look at this here. So you had an entry here, so you can see here I've drawn a trend line from this fractal to this fractal. We've had a break. You can see here that little white candle is actually a red candle, but you're waiting for a close under it. So you had a nice profitable trade here. Okay, down it went. Now what I've now got here is a trend line break to go with the trend here. Now trend line breaks with the trend are always going to be the highest probability. So you can see here the yellow line here is a 34 EMA, for black is a 21, and the little blue line here is an 8 EMA. So I've got a, and I'll point them all out. There's a 200, 89, 34, 21 and 8. So obviously they're all going up, so this is with the trend. So you can see here I've had a fractal point formed there and here, draw a trend line, and you're in on the close of this candle, and away it goes. So we can see that we're trading with the trend. So you can see point here, fractal point, fractal point, fractal point. Now at times you'll have, and where you see really strong trends, you'll get a number of false breakouts. Now let's have a look at what may have happened with this, and let me just get a trend line here. Now traditionally what a lot of traders will do is follow the candles down like I've done here, and you've actually could say, okay, I've got an entry here. Becomes more discretionary when you're using the fractal points, these black dots, which is nothing more than candles to at least two higher on both sides. It just makes it more mechanical. Now where you may choose not to do that is when you're trading with the trend. Another point I want to make out is that when you've got a strong downtrend like you can see here, your second breaks, and please remember this, when you are counter trend trading and you've had a really strong trend down or up, quite often the second break is the best to take, and actually I can tell you now it's also the most accurate. So if you want to play really safe, you might have drawn a trend line down here as many traditional would have done. You would have got in there or there, and of course we've gone up and we've bounced off the moving averages. Now remember, your moving averages will act as magnets or support and resistance. Now what we've got here is a nice little double bottom formation, and for my students, look at this here, we've got lovely divergence here, double bottom, we've got a T7, we've got great divergence here, and of course you've had a break and away you go, and up we go. Now your next T-line break would have been with the trend here. You had another one potentially here, but you didn't have a fractal. Now when you are trading with the trend and you have at least 4 to 6 candles, you can skim or draw a line on the top of those candles, but please be aware that the further your entry is away from your moving averages, the greater the chance of a pullback. And also look at this large candle. This can be one of the challenges that we actually have when we're trading time-based charts. If the candles can be really big, so just remember, the further away from the moving averages you are, the more likely you are to have a pullback. Now we've gone up here, you've had an entry that actually pulled back. Now where should your stop be? And I haven't mentioned it yet. So if you had an entry here, your stop should go below your pivot. And remember, your target should be a minimum of 1 to 1, a minimum of 1 to 1 with your trend trades, and 2 to 1 with your counter trend trades. In other words, if we looked at this trade here and my stop was under here, I want a minimum of a 2 to 1 return, because remember, when you're trading with the trend, it's a higher probability trade. Now another little trick, and please write this down as well, be very cautious in taking any more than 3 trades in a trend. The market moves in waves. 1 2 3, it then rolls over. In actual fact, if I move this here, you can see I actually shorted the market. Let me just pull this down for you. I actually shorted the market, and I won't go into the trade. The reason I did that on this sorry traders, I'm just going to quickly get this here, move this down, and you can see here I shorted the market 10 contracts right here for 14 ticks. Now on the NQs, that's $700 gross. Down here my target was the 89 EMA, and you can see actually it punched straight through. Quite often we bounce, and you can see here it bounced off for 200 just down here. So if we go here, the next trend line break that we actually had, and let me show you this here, there to there, was here. My stop would have been up here. This is trading with the trend. Remembering, if you're students, you'll know we talk about the support and resistance, and if we look here we can see the 200s going sideways. We've got some nice divergence happening right here right now, and let me show you another way we could have drawn this trend line in. Okay, you can see that fractal break there. Now my problem with this one is we're getting in very late. See, I've drawn fractal points there and there, but it's very late. Look how far we've moved. Now we're due for a pullback. Now for my students, that would have been a T89. So for the counter trend traders that trade the with me via T89s, let's have a look. You can see that there, it was a beautiful T89. So you would have already been in that well and truly. So let's go to I'll put this video on hold, traders. We'll wrap this one up, but we'll go to video 2, where I want to show some other action trading trendline breaks.